Ruben Amorim calls out Marcus Rashford.
It has to be Marcus, first of all, to try to return to that moment.
There's more on that to come as well. I want to get into details purely on what Ruben Amorim said about Marcus Rashford. That is the sole purpose of this video tonight. I want your live comments in. I want your live comments also. Well, not live, but comments in the box when this video finishes on YouTube as well. Make sure that you get all of your thoughts about Marcus Rashford across. Ruben Amorim did indeed today in the press conference out Marcus Rashford. You can say I am making a big deal out of this. You can say that I am just making it my sole purpose because I don't like Marcus Rashford. I don't like any player that doesn't want to put in the effort at Manchester United. And I feel like Ruben Amorim is also that type of man that doesn't want any Manchester United player not putting in the effort for him. Otherwise, it's his job on the block. He said that himself already in previous interviews and press conferences. I feel like what he said today was the most important part of his time at Manchester United and why he will succeed, and is the most pivotal part of Marcus Rashford's whole career. We're getting into that. We're getting into everything that went around that press conference afterwards and what people said. We've covered the press conference. There's nothing more to say. Bodo Glimt tomorrow. Let's just go and get the job done. But right now, let's talk about Marcus Rashford and why this is his last chance, and the manager has called him out after a week. Thank God somebody is seeing sense at Manchester United. Thank God somebody is actually saying it as it is. It's all right being all pally-pally and nice and slapping each other on the back on the training ground, but will that be carrying on in the dressing room after you've had an underperforming team come off the pitch in the Premier League, the Europa League, FA Cup or Carabao Cup? No, they won't. So Ruben Amorim is just setting out his stall. He can be nice and pally-pally with these players when he wants to be, but realistically, he knows what that end goal is, and he knows his job is on the line. And when players like Marcus Rashford don't want to put the work rate in, don't want to put the effort in, then it's his neck that will get the chop. Everybody knows it. Even Bruno Fernandez said it in the press conference today. You cannot fire or sack 15 or 20 players. It's always the manager that gets the boot. And that was in reference to Ten Hag when asked the question about what it's like taking a manager on midway through the season. It's there. The players know it. So it's now down to Marcus Rashford. Inadvertently, you could say that Bruno Fernandez has also called out Marcus Rashford at the same time. Look, he's called out every single player, but while we're talking about Marcus Rashford, and while Bruno and Ruben Amorim were sat side by side in that press conference, I think we have to focus our attention on what Ruben Amorim did in that press conference today, and how he actually made it look like he understands what is going on right now at Manchester United. And to be totally clear, this is exactly what Ruben Amorim said about Marcus Rashford today in the press conference in full.
Marcus scored 32 seasons ago, which was his career best, and he's slid since then. He's not even in the England setup. Can you see something in him that you can get him back to those levels?
Yeah, I will try to help him. That position is not the best one for him, especially in the game like that. We have to kick with high pressure. We have to kick the ball so many times, and he was like fighting with two giants. So we'll try to find the right solution for him as for the other players. But it has to be Marcus, first of all, to try to return to that moment. And then he will have the help of all the staff and all the club and all the fans, because he's a Manchester United boy. But he has to be the first one to really want it.
He will help Marcus Rashford, but Marcus Rashford needs to find Marcus Rashford. He has to discover Marcus first. Quite clearly going in on Marcus Rashford there and saying he isn't fit for the role. It wasn't his best position up against two giants, apparently what Ipswich had at the back. No, he just didn't want to put the effort in. I mean, Ruben Amorim there picked up on everything that I said after that game against Ipswich. He picked up on all of the flaws and the ball coming back from the front line, there being no outlets at all for the rest of the team. It was all there, clear to see. Everybody's watching the same game. You cannot cover the obvious in absolute spiel and crap like we've had before. Ruben Amorim has come in and completely dissected an open heart and started the open heart surgery on Manchester United that Ralph Rangnick said 3 years ago was necessary. In his first 2 weeks in charge at the football club, the biggest decision, the biggest moment that Ruben Amorim will look back on, I feel, is doing that in that press conference today and calling out the obvious. Now, you can say aside of Marcus Rashford, doesn't matter. We could be talking about Marcus Rashford tonight, but this goes for every single player. The point is, he is the highest paid player. He's the most experienced player. He's come through the United Academy. If there's anyone in this team that should be giving more than everybody in this squad, it's Marcus Rashford. Wayne Rooney came out 2 days ago when this game came. It's quite clear to see, and I'm safe in saying what I'm saying, and I think everybody will understand it, is that he clearly has lost interest in Manchester United. It will be bad for Ruben Amorim if he keeps on playing him. Seasoned professionals who had Manchester United at their heart, who were brought into the football club and understand what it was and what it stood for, calling out players that have come through Manchester United's academy who can't give a shit. Now, there are serious problems going on behind the scenes with Marcus Rashford. There has to be, if he has lost or fell out of love with Manchester United. He needs to get down to the bottom of it, Ruben Amorim. But the fact that he has said it today, he will help him. He will find a position. The fact that he's saying we have to find a solution for him tells you everything you need to know. The solution for Marcus Rashford should be quite simple. Put absolutely everything into any position that you get because you don't deserve any. Otherwise, get out. It's as simple as that. If you don't want to put the work rate in like every other player, then you will be called out by this manager. You will be called out by Ruben Amorim. And in fact, the team, if they're on top and if they're behind the manager as well, they will also go a long way into making sure that you are not in this squad. Other players will want to take your place. Other players will want to actually do what you're doing and will give anything to get in that team and take that opportunity. You are just pissing your career up the wall, mates. Honestly, that is what it looks like for Marcus Rashford right now. It seems like I'm going in again and going in on him. And it's not. Like, the bigger point is, an example needs to be made of the most senior player at this football squad. And that will set the tone for Ruben Amorim's time at Manchester United. It is as simple as that. This is what this is about. Marcus Rashford is the Aubameyang from Arsenal. He is the player that needs to be outed. He'll either turn his career around or he'll just sulk and just fade away. That's all there is. This is the problem. This is the problem Manchester United have always had. And unfortunately for Marcus Rashford, now he is the pin-up boy of this football club and he's the one that's getting the stick for it. There were others like him. And I feel sorry for him that he's probably one of the only ones that doesn't really want to put the right work rate in. But the fact that we're talking this morning as fans about the club upping the prices of tickets, and then you've got someone like Marcus Rashford, who we have to pay more to go and watch, who doesn't want to give a toss, who really doesn't want to put the work rate in that we expect. No, we don't even demand it. We just expect it and think that these players would want to wear that shirt with pride. You could excuse some players that have come in of a certain age that were brought in as mercenaries. Not their fault. They just come for a payday because this football club doesn't know how to run itself. I understand all of that. But this is a lad that's come through. This is a guy that's come out in an interview on TV and said he used to take 3 or 4 buses to get to training to Manchester United. This is a man that's supposed to have United in his heart. And he walks around that pitch earning his money doing absolutely jack shit. Wayne Rooney, one of the highest, the actual legend of this football club, leading goal scorer of all time of Manchester United, has come out and said, you scored a goal in the first 2 minutes, well done, but you cannot walk around for the rest of the game doing absolutely nothing. Those are the words coming out of real players' mouths right now on Marcus Rashford. Alan Shearer's called him out. Wayne Rooney's called him out. Who else do you need to tell you that there's something wrong? I don't get it. Has he fallen out of love with football? Has he just stopped loving the game? I am concerned and I am pissed off at the same time. But what can we do? We are being absolutely fleeced price-wise for tickets to go and watch this. So where do our loyalties lie? Do we just sit there and accept that he's going through a hard time and he cannot find himself and just keep on paying these prices and go through all of the same old crap season after season after season? Where do we draw the line? We're looking for someone to get a grip of Marcus Rashford and just tell him some home truths and say, look, it's in or it's out, mate. There's no other way around this right now. You ain't going to get time to actually try and find your form like people were trying to help you out with before under the old management system. It's not going to happen right now. And I feel like this is a massive moment because Ruben doing what he did today sends that signal and sends that message to every single player in this Manchester United squad. He has instantly come in and stamped his authority on Manchester United in what he wants and what he expects. We knew it after the first game. We're not changing. Deal with it. Get better. Learn quicker. Train harder. or you're out. It's as simple as that. That's a message to every single player in this squad. Harry Maguire, love him or hate him, but the man has come out and said, I've still got ability I've still got confidence in my ability, and I want to go out there and show Ruben Amorim that I can play in this system. Look, that's a player there that we could say he's coming to the end of his career, that not many people think he's worth the money that we spent on him. That's not his fault. I don't think he's got the quality anyway. Some people would say, I think he did all right last season. He knows that he has got one last chance at a contract at a big professional club at the highest level, and he wants to get out there and give absolutely everything. You've got a 36-year-old that's making 100-yard sprints up the pitch in a system that he's never played in before, pressing a wing-back in the opposition half of the pitch, leaving his role at centre-back 80 yards behind him, knowing that he hasn't got the pace because he's believing in what the manager's telling him to do. You've got players like that. You've got players like Maguire. You've got players like Ahmad, who will change his whole position that he's played his whole career to get into this Manchester United side. But this guy strolls and prances around the pitch because he's scored a goal thinking that his job is done and that's it. Stop it. Stop it now. Well played, Ruben Amorim, today in this press conference. He hasn't really gone in on him as such. He's just called him out in the best way possible. I want to help him. We need to find a solution for him. The only person that finds Marcus Rashford's solution is Marcus Rashford. There's no one else who can help this kid. He's seen off every single coach and manager that's been at Manchester United since he's arrived on the scene. And he was lucky to be on the scene. And credit to him for taking his opportunity like he did. And we all thought he was going to be the next best thing. But there's mediocrity and garbage that is continuously accepted at Manchester United. He is at the forefront of it. The inconsistencies of someone who just got his big payday and fell off completely is unacceptable at this football club. We talked this morning about the new regime looking at the restructure of Manchester United's recruitment. Gone are the days of the profiler player of Casemiro coming in at 30 for 70 million. Well, no, he came in at 29 for 70 million and has contributed a lot in his 2 years at Manchester United. Now contributing a lot in his third year at Manchester United as well. And where that may seem like that's not a good deal for the future of the football club, let's not bring Casemiro into this recruitment structure. Let's look closer to home at players that are taking the piss out of what Manchester United actually are. And that's this lad staring us right in our face. Because he's from Manchester, because he's come through the academy, he gets away with what other players don't, and isn't as criticised as much as what other players are. Let's have a look at what Casemiro has won in his whole career, what Rafael Varane had won in his career. Yeah, let's slag them off because they're not from Manchester, they're not Manchester United Academy players. No. It's closer to home that is the problem at this football club. And you know what? Sometimes players change, people change. I think Marcus Rashford has changed. I think the stature that Manchester United put on him. I thought Mason Greenwood was better. I thought at times Martial could have been better than him. There were other players that were better at Manchester United and they just fell away. And Marcus just stayed. He just stayed there on a level. Didn't go up. Never really went any higher. He had the one standout season where he scored 30 goals. But realistically, when did he ever improve or when has he ever got better from when he burst onto the scene? His first 3 years, you could arguably say, were the most exciting of his time at Manchester United. And that was when he was playing for the love of the game. I just don't feel like he loves playing football anymore. It looks like what Wayne Rooney says. And you know what? When players like Rooney, when players like Alan Shearer and all these legends, all strikers as well and forwards, when they look at him and they say what they're saying, you have to take note and you have to take notice. Someone needs to stand up to him and save him. And save him fast. Because he looks like he just does not care. He really doesn't. And I agree with everything that Wayne Rooney says. You cannot just score a goal and just prance around the pitch. Ruben Amorim today has offered him an olive branch for me. Credit to Ruben Amorim in doing that, in trying to help a player out. But I don't think that Ruben's going to be one that just waits around 2 years while he tries to find his form. Because he'll be gone. And I think Ruben Amorim knows he'll be out of a job if there is a player. He said it in his first interview. If that player wants to give everything, I will get the sack in defending that player because my system hasn't worked. If the player doesn't want to work hard for his teammates, then he has to go. Well, he doesn't have to go. He didn't say that, but that's what we're saying. He has to go, but he will hear my voice. He's heard his voice already, and we're a week in. There you go. Everything that needed to be said has been said. Ruben Amorim has definitely called out Marcus Rashford to me, and he needs to just have a look at what was said today. He needs to have a look about what people are saying as well. Don't think that everyone's having a go at you. Use it. You're a professional footballer. You are expected to take criticism. And what we're seeing is what we're saying. We're not overly having a go at this kid at all. He's the highest paid player at Manchester United, one of the top 10 earners in the Premier League. And we're halfway down the bleeding table. You have to let that sink in. And yes, Casemiro is there earning a lot of money as well. And other players as well. But they didn't choose what was paid for them. They didn't choose how much money they were on. Their agents did it, and United were stupid enough to say yes to it. Let's not have a go at the players. I think Casemiro has done all right while he's been at Manchester United. I tell you what, I bet if you put Anthony in Rashford's position, he would give absolutely everything, even though he's not as good. Quality gets you nowhere if you're not willing to put the work rate in to match it. That's exactly what Marcus Rashford is. And he will be found out under Ruben Amorim. I am convinced of it. He has to be. Otherwise, United are doomed. And I don't want to put that on one player. But if he is made an example of, and I hope, and this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people right now, but hear me out on this. I actually hope that Marcus Rashford does turn this around. I will gladly stand there as a fan, not trying to act like I'm anybody else at all, and say I was wrong about Marcus Rashford. But I can only say what I'm seeing on the pitch. He has to do a lot to convince everybody in this fan base. And the problem he's got, we've seen it consistently, and it's now starting to get consistently worse. How does a player go from a 30 goal a season to earning 350k, and as soon as he gets that paycheck, completely falls off? Is that just the perfect example of somebody who already thinks he's made it? That's what you've got to ask. That is the burning question, I feel. And you make your own mind up about him. The talent is there. We all know the talent is there. How many times are we going to say it? The talent is there, but it's not going to go anywhere unless you're willing to put the work rate in to match it, like I said. And that is the problem with Marcus Rashford. He has had his time, his chance. He isn't getting any better. He won't get any better. All we're hoping for is that he can go back and just help us out at the moment and go back to what he was doing a couple of years ago. When it wasn't world-class, world-beating, he just had a good goal-scoring season. You would hope that he would learn from that and go on from there, but he didn't. And that is the problem. Ruben will know all of this. Someone at Manchester United must be telling Ruben Amorim that he is a issue right now and isn't right. You have to try and fix him. Otherwise, this will all fall apart. And you know what I mean by that as well. It's like he either gets on board with it or the most senior figure at Manchester United starts to become a problem in a team that you're trying to get everyone together in. How many players at that football club actually look at Marcus Rashford and are really pally with Marcus Rashford? We've seen this situation with Jadon Sancho. When he went off the rails, Marcus Rashford's career just fell off a cliff. And going back to it actually, and this just shows you where player power and issue players have affected Manchester United. Look, Manchester United under Ten Hag, and this is where I will back Ten Hag on this one, he got rid of Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, there were problems with Ten Hag, but Ronaldo, we went on after that and played better without him. They're the facts. The facts are clear, they're slapping you in the face. Manchester United, without Ronaldo, were better in Ten Hag's first season. And we got third, and we won a cup without him. Yes, the longer term might have been better with Ronaldo because he's actually got goals and actually scores goals. He does. And everybody past that point was thinking that Manchester United were stupid. No, we weren't. We made the right decision with him, but the recruitment didn't work. We relied on Marcus Rashford, again, coming through. We scored the goals, and it looked like we'd made a really smart decision on that. And then Rashford falls off. One season doesn't make a legend. One season doesn't make a world-class player. One season isn't enough. That's what we keep saying. The recruitment then brought in Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee after him to replace Ronaldo. Are you shitting me? Seriously. We've all said this all along. So we're right in getting rid of the problem players. But the problem United had was we had club issues with Player Power FC, and then we've gone to bad recruitment to try and rectify that, and you've got a complete cocktail of a shitstorm. And that's what Manchester United are. And that's where we are right now. We're trying to cover that. by getting overpriced for tickets from Ineos, who have come in and just gone emergency mode. Let's try and just rectify everything in 6 months. Credit for working fast. But now we're looking at a situation where we've got Marcus Rashford earning 350 grand a week. Well, we're paying more to watch him walk around the pitch doing nothing and not really give a shit. You can see the problems that are happening, and you can see everything that's going to go wrong at Manchester United if we don't act on certain players. The football will get better. I think we've got the same scenario. If we can get rid of Ronaldo, we most certainly can get rid of Marcus Rashford. And it doesn't matter if the player stays quiet and he's all nicey-nicey and doesn't say a thing. Like, Ronaldo was open. Ronaldo was big enough to actually come out and do his own interview. That was completely wrong, by the way. He should never have done that. And that's why I did fall out of love with Cristiano Ronaldo for what he did. But still, he was strong enough inside to say that these standards weren't good enough. Marcus Rashford has accepted the standards, and he's playing to the standards that he knows, and only he knows, in his whole time at Manchester United. And I can say, and I can argue back at myself, and some people will probably throw this back in my face, yeah, but Wayne Rooney was under Sir Alex Ferguson. Alan Shearer knew what the standard was at Manchester United. He played against him every single season. It was a different era. Yes, it was. It really was. And I understand that. But there's no excuse for not putting work rate in. There's no excuse for looking like you really don't give a shit when you're on that amount of money. And money, you know what, money aside, still, you put on that Man United shirt and you go out there and you play football. If you don't, and you get found out, he's been found out. He has been more than found out. I've got a poll running right now. I've not got into any of the chat yet. I'm going to come to that now. Sorry for going on and on and on, everybody. I needed to get all of that information out there straight out. Will Rashford turn his career around? Yes, Amorim will help him. No, Amorim will expose him. That is a simple question. I'm going to be putting that in the comment section later. So if I don't get a chance to read out your live comment, please do get your comments in after the live is finished. And I will obviously see all of your response to that. We will see, won't we? And we'll see how many people think that it is salvageable. By the way, 76% of the live chat think that Amorim will expose him rather than help him. He's given him a choice. He said what he wants from him. He has to find Marcus Rashford. He clearly isn't in the right frame of mind. So, like what Wayne Rooney says, it's wrong for Amorim to play Rashford. I would take him away from it and say, look, until you find yourself and figure out what's going on, rediscover your love for playing for Manchester United. For God's sake, can you believe I'm actually saying that? Discover your love for football. Again, can't believe I'm saying that. Come back to me and then we'll work on it. I don't think you can use him. I don't think you can use him. You look at players, like I said, that are moving around that pitch, just trying to get a spot on the team. You heard Manchester United's captain Bruno Fernandez today answering questions about where he would play. He would play anywhere. You have to be versatile. You have to work in different positions. And it's not just because you're trying to fit yourself into a team. It's because you're listening to what the instructions are from your coach and understand that you have to have versatility. You have to have that knowledge of playing different roles within a system that he wants to implement. He reverted back to talking about playing for Portugal, and now he plays at 10, 8, 6 and out on the wing. It's still the same message and it's still the same role in his head. He's just covering another position to work the system. It's not rocket science. Don't overcomplicate things. You just do the same thing but in a different role. It's like these players go into a role. It's like, breaking news, Manchester United. We're playing so-and-so at a certain position. Like, the most ludicrous thing you could ever say in that, an example of that, where you could use that as an excuse, is when Ten Hag put bleeding Mazraoui at 10. Like, that was just ridiculous. There's no need for that at all. But if Aman's playing at wing-back and he wants to do it and he plays well there and he's happy playing there, then good for him. If you want to play Garnacho not inverted, but a bit more central rather than out on the wing, he has to learn and adapt to that. Otherwise, it's bye-bye again. All of these things coming around, and I bet you all these other players will start to cling on, start to figure it out, and then start to play football in these other positions. That's what will happen. It's up to the likes of Rashford to actually decide whether he wants to do it or not. And then it's up, ultimately, to the football club to finally bite the bullet and make the decision that's necessary. If he doesn't want to turn it around, then he needs to be out of the door. It's as simple as that. Please hit that like button as well. We're nearly at 150 already. Thank you so much. And coming into the chat right now, everybody as well, make sure you have subscribed as well to the channel, and make sure you have hit that bell notification so you miss none of the content coming up as well. Let's get into the chat and see what everybody's saying on this. I've gone on for a long time. I'm going to scroll right up to the top there and say, Rashford has fallen off a cliff since he injured his back and collarbone versus Wolves. Even when he scored 30 goals, he was still poor when it came to his all-round game. Is that a club decision then, just to get rid of him? Like, you can't have a player that can't play football, surely. I disagree with that as well. I'm not having the excuse of a back injury. He's scoring 30 goals in a season. He was supposed to be the next best thing. So, yeah, no excuses for that at all for me. I get where you're coming from, no. Rashford should be a politician now. He'll do great there. Jez says, and he's not the only one. There's a few players like Rashford at this club. I've never been so depressed in my life looking at what's happening to our club, and it's down to them. It's like they don't care. Personally, I don't think there's anyone as bad as Marcus Rashford, because I look at everyone else on that pitch and they're all giving maximum effort at least. And that is the minimum that they can do. It really is. And he doesn't give that. And that's the problem we've got with him. He needs to save himself. There's no excuse. Rashford is in a privileged position. Try living in the real world. He played for the contracts, then thinks he's untouchable, says Roddy. The first one there was from Anthony as well. Leo, Amorim must have been promised he could get rid of who he wants, or he would never have come to Manchester United. If someone told him beforehand, before he arrived, then yes, you would have thought so, wouldn't you? That would be a definite, wouldn't it? How can you not care? It's unbelievable, says Babs. Yes, it is. I don't want us to pay big wages again because it never seems to work out. No, that's true, Jonathan. It never does it? We're not allowed to criticise Sir Marcus of Rashford. He's a snowflake, says Simon. Mescal says Rashford is not that good. He needs a trip back to Barbados so he can think about change in his mindset. After all, at biggest club in the world. Again from Jonathan, and Stuart says, find himself, bless him. I'm on the verge of losing my home through no fault of my own. This guy's on 350 grand and doesn't care. Rashford has never scored 20 plus Premier League goals in a season, says Stephanie. Guest says, being wrong about Rashford would be great. That would mean we'd have a great player on the pitch. I don't think I'm wrong, no. I get it. Rashford isn't interested in football anymore. He's too busy looking like an idiot in nightclubs. It wasn't a one season. It was from Boxing Day until the end of January, and he scored 11 goals in that month. So it was a month of decent play. I could argue that point. I want to try and give him the benefit of the doubt. Lona says, maybe Ruben can change his way of thinking. He's the type of manager that could take time with players, see how Marcus works under a new structure. The problem we've got with that, Lona, is every single Manchester United fan knows that Marcus Rashford has seen Louis van Gaal, he's seen Jose Mourinho, he's seen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's seen Erik ten Hag, he's now seeing Ruben Amorim. How many different systems does he want to see through? There are other problems with players at that time, and that's why I wanted to bring in the point earlier on about recruitment, and he wasn't the only one. He should have used them players that really were the poison at this football club, use that as his get up and go, and prove that he isn't that type of player. Sadly, right now, Marcus Rashford is showing everybody his true colours, and it looks like his real colours are them ones that really don't give a shit. It's sad, but Rashford don't have the character to work hard and give his all. If he did, we would see it years ago. I have lost faith in him long ago. It's a shame. Rashford is both not good enough and not suited to the system. That was from Decho. Raymond Maddox, I think he's had a long enough he's had a long enough evening, by the way, Adam. Raymond, evening to you as well. And yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything we need to cover now in terms of Marcus Rashford, and I don't think there's any other questions or there's anything else that we need to actually say or put out there. I feel like the beauty of this is, in all of this, in everything that everyone said there in the chat, and what I've said and what I've picked up on, all comes down to one man in Ruben Amorim outing Marcus Rashford in the press conference only 2 weeks into the job. This should be enough. This should be enough now. I'm happy with what's happened on the Ruben Amorim so far in terms of the squad, in terms of who is available. Now all of a sudden we've got players back. Even when we thought we had an injury in Martinez, he's come back straight away. He's talking about everyone getting the chance. He's getting full rotation. We're going to see every single player used. We're going to utilise the big squad that we've actually got. And now we're getting a big moment here straight away, which should convince everybody that Ruben Amorim is the right man, because Ruben Amorim talking about Rashford and the way he's talking about him definitely shows to me that there is no superstars at United. It is a team. And if you're not going to work for him, then something seriously is wrong if Ruben Amorim keeps on playing Rashford, because he won't put in the amount of effort that everyone else does. You know he's not going to. And as soon as the summer comes, you know that United are going to go out and get a replacement, someone better than what Marcus Rashford is. And then he is benched. And that is him done. He has got the biggest opportunity of his whole career right in front of him right now to salvage it. He ain't getting back in that England side. He ain't ever been a starter for England. He's now looking at a position that he's not even going to be able to play for England, because he's now been moved inside. The wing days are gone. Are you going to adapt? Or are you just going to sink and fall away? Nobody's going to remember you for anything good. He's got the perfect opportunity right now to turn it all around. Xerxes out as well. Man needs to lose weight, says John with a super chat. I don't think Xerxes is just big, I feel. I think Xerxes is big. We'll see with Xerxes. Xerxes is the least of our problems right now. Obviously, he's got quality issues, but when we're looking at what is the biggest problem at Manchester United, there is only one. Adam, are you worried that it's going to be the Bruno show again under Amorim? Sunday, he took all of the set pieces, and then the second half, he made all of the changes to accommodate him. I don't think it was necessarily to accommodate him. I feel like Bruno understands the system. Bruno didn't play well. I'll say that, and I agree that. I think he understands the system more. And I think over time, as other players get better, we'll see less of Bruno. I do believe that. I feel like he's definitely going to be resting Bruno more than any other manager that's been at Manchester United. He has to, doesn't he? He has to look at Bruno and say, look, Bruno Fernandez, fantastic servant. Thank you very much. Every single manager has relied on you, but this isn't about one player. If we're going to talk about Marcus Rashford, we have to talk about Bruno Fernandez. We have to talk about every individual player that has probably got more game time than what he deserves in this team. And there are a few of them. There are a few. Less and less as we move forward. But still, I don't think Bruno Fernandes is going to be absolutely pivotal to Ruben Amorim's system. I think Bruno is going to be a main part to it. I do. I think he is going to be the one that thrives if he listens in. Like he said today in his press conference, it was quite interesting that Bruno was there today, and Bruno was the one answering questions as well. And a good part in that press conference was Ruben Amorim actually telling Bruno to answer a question. No, he wanted the manager to answer it, and he went, no, it's a good question, you answer it. He's putting responsibility onto the players. He's putting accountability onto the players already. People are not picking up on little things. And when he talks about players, he says, I'm not digging out these players. I'm using players as examples on the game, and they know that. So the players know that he isn't necessarily just going out there and outing them and saying that they're a problem. He's using them as examples. And this is all in the same conversation about him talking about the team and how the team has to work together. The team has to work as one. Teamwork doesn't include individual brilliant players that have lived their whole Manchester United career of doing what they want and just making moments happen. The quality is there to make the moments, and if you can harness that quality, you've got a hell of a player running that whole team for you like he wants. But they have to fall in line. Rashford and Bruno are prime examples of what a lot of Manchester United fan base feel have been the issue, while being the saviours of Manchester United. Like Ten Hag wouldn't have been manager if Rashford didn't have his 30-goal season. He wouldn't have got into the top four. He wouldn't have won the Carabao Cup. Marcus Rashford turned up and saved Erik ten Hag in that first season. And I purely do believe that second season, when ten Hag was coming out and saying to everybody in press conferences and post-match interviews, saying we're going to keep on playing Marcus Rashford, he will discover his form. I think he solely believed that Marcus Rashford was going to rediscover that 30-goal season he had in ten Hag's first spell. That 30 goals got United where they was. We had an out-and-out goal scorer. Every team needs them. In a successful season, there's always a player that stands out and scores you goals. Rashford did it for Ten Hag. He trusted in him, and that was his downfall. Keep on playing the players that aren't consistent. Playing Bruno and letting him do what he wants, because in a game he will just find something for you and win you a game. Ruben Amorim, post-match interview, after the game against Ipswich, I guarantee you in a year's time, if you just find a way to win a game just by doing something that suits the player that can actually win you the game, you can play that way. You will be back here in that year and talking about the same problem at Manchester United. Not happening. He's called out 2 players instantly who have been big and important for Manchester United in that old era and called them out to change. In Bruno Fernandez, he needs to score more goals. He needs to play in different positions. Make him answering questions in a press conference to what his role is in the football team. Accountability, responsibility. Marcus Rashford needs to refine Marcus Rashford before we can even start working on him. I mean, seriously? That's the most senior player at the football club on the biggest wage package. And he needs to find himself before we can even start helping him. Good God! Now that is a job and a half, isn't it, for Ruben Amorim? It really is. Into the chat we go again. Gifted membership that has gone to Pearly Lou. Blondie has dropped that membership in. Thank you very much. All fan channels dumping on Rashford after one game with Amorim. Are you serious with that comment? Come on. Seriously, we're sat here face to face having a conversation right now, and you want to tell me, Harper, that after one game we are dumping on Rashford? Did I not go through the big catalogue of underperforming seasons of this player at this football club? Come on. You have to see what we're saying. And you can pick out the good bits in what we've said as well. But everybody wants to pick out the bad bits. You naturally do, because you've seen so much of it over the years. Try and defend the indefensible if you want. Rashford can turn his career around at United if he wants to. The problem he's got is, and the problem that every United fan has got with him is, he's not shown signs that he even cares about it. And that's the difference. At this level, that is why it is just highlighted to the level it is right now. And that's why it's talked about more. It's clear for everybody to see. Rashford 100% has a clause in his contracts that must start Amorim in big trouble already. That clause, I'm not having that clause. I can't have that clause. If there is one in there, and we'll find out about it at a later date, then I do feel sorry for every single manager that has been at Manchester United. That is ridiculous. Ineos would not allow that, surely. We're almost at 200 likes, everybody. Thank you so much for having the patience to sit with me here. Well, I've pretty much gone on one completely about one situation right now. I didn't even think we could talk that long about it, but that just goes to show how big the situation this is, because it does have implications on Manchester United improving and going forward. We all want the success to come back. This is how big this is. It really is. Rashford is weak-minded, so this will hurt his poor little feelings. You're right, Adam. We have no superstars in our team. We have a few good players. The rest are just average. Them few good players and decent players together will make a team that can challenge and take this team forward. Superstars don't work at Manchester United. Jonathan made the comment there about spending big and giving players big wages. It never works at Manchester United. It never has worked at Manchester United. There are certain players that earn contracts that work earning that money. And you're talking about the best of the best from the good old days. I don't think there's one that's earned his contract consistently in the last decade post Sir Alex Ferguson. I really don't. Bruno Fernandez has come close, and that's my own personal opinion because of the work rate that this guy puts in and everything that he does and the amount that he has done for Manchester United in crap seasons. Yes, you could say mismanagement, and he has just done it on his own. Individually, he is petulant. He does things that we don't like, but he has had an impact, and he does give his all. Unlike some. The fact that we're actually talking about players giving their all and it being a bonus for Manchester United standards. That, again, let's just break that down. That tells you what is going on right now. More comments coming in. Please keep your comments flying in, everybody. Rashford has scored 85 goals in 296 games for United. That's not legendary, is it? No, it's not. Smash the like button, says Blondie. Thank you. Yes, do smash it. We are over 200 live likes. Thank you very much, everybody. Make sure you have hit that subscribe button as well. You will be kept up to date with all news coming out of Manchester United. Good luck to the under-19s in their Champions League qualifier tonight. Really looking forward to seeing some of that young talent progressing again. Oh, sorry, no, they already played it. What am I actually talking about? I was looking forward to it. They lost 2-1 last night. I totally forgot that the game was played. It was one of them games, I feel, the Alkmaar game. I think we can beat them coming back. A very, very young team, by the way. And like we said earlier on, Ibrahimov is being touted for a loan at the age of 16 at Manchester United. That tells you everything about Manchester United's recruitment and how the pathways are now they're utilising the structure of the academy as well right now, which is good. That academy that did bring through Marcus Rashford as well. Oh... Zeus Diaz, welcome to the Members Club, gifted by London, Legend London, thank you very much. Rashford's been crap for a couple of seasons like Bruno, both go big contracts. We are a stupid club. We are for the contracts that we give out. We definitely are. Does Adam have a day job? No, this is everything that I've got, Ian, mate. Thank you, mate. And I love your support and your comments coming in. They all help. Yeah, this is what it's all about. I just concentrate on giving you guys the best content that I can. This is what Forever United TV is all about. So, yes, this is why we are live, bringing you content 3 times a day, twice a day, match days, absolutely flooded with content. Stay tuned tomorrow. Obviously, I'll be talking to fans outside the ground tomorrow. I want to get loads of questions, definitely on this ticketing situation as well. And then Sunday will be really interesting. We are parked right at the protest before the game. There is a protest at Old Trafford again this weekend against Everton before the game. And that is to do with the ticket pricing situation that we spoke about this morning on the show. Very important for Manchester United fans to have their voices heard, because the club haven't even consulted the fan base on them tickets. I've gone behind the club fans' back and just put that in with immediate effect overnight without anybody knowing about it. And there are protests because of that this weekend. And that is, thank you, Lorna, for that as well. And that is our show all summed up, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, this is what happens. And if you are unclear of what Ruben Amorim said, I'll just make it quite clear. It's at the bottom of your screen right there going across right now. Marcus Rashford has to find himself, and then we can start working on him. Have we got time to do that? Should that not have already happened? They're the questions that need answering. That is tonight's show. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button as well. You'll miss no content going forward. And yeah, we go again tomorrow. Match day. Can't wait. Changes and a good result. That's what's needed. I'll see you all tomorrow.